Podcast.
On Facebook and Twitter.
Search Phantom UDSU.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You are here again to the Hat Trick Podcast. Welcome, good morning. How is everybody? Actually, it's good afternoon. I apologise. We are starting a little bit later than we normally do because of me. Before we get into the podcast, I will introduce our two gentlemen that always make us a trio or a trio. That's the way it works. It's a trio. I apologise. Firstly, to my left, we've got Mr. Adam Swindles.
Hiya, how are we doing?
I'm perfectly fine. And we've got Mr. Tom Rogers here as well.
Alright, mate.
I'm fine, yeah. Right, so firstly, before we actually get into this, right, let's take this pop-tastic music off. Let's move that down. I need to make some apologies, fellas. I really do. I'm sorry. Not to you guys. You guys I'm perfectly fine against, and I haven't disgruntled you apart from me being late today, so I apologise. Firstly, we need to apologise to all the Arsenal fans, as we forgot to mention their game against Huddersfield last week. So, sorry Arsenal fans, we didn't mention the game against Huddersfield last week. Sorry. If it was more memorable, then we might have mentioned it. Or I wouldn't have forgotten it. Never mind. Secondly, I personally need to apologise to Pablo Dybala. With me slating him last week, he went on and scored against for Juventus, and Ronaldo got the assist, which made me look like a double fool. Thirdly, we had a question from Tom last week on our YouTube, which, yes, we answer your questions if you give them us. So we're now on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud and YouTube, so if you want to leave a comment below and we'll answer your question, and we'll do like a little Q&A session there. And this goes out to all three of you. Last week you criticised the midfield trio of Gundogan, De Bruyne and Fernandinho. Have they proved you wrong, or is this the Chelsea result a fluke? Well, they played Newport in the FA Cup and they didn't play that midfield trio, so I have no idea if it was a fluke or not. So I would like to say no, it's not, because they're probably going to play that midfield trio again. But Man City relied very heavily on Fernandinho, and we'll get into that later on when we discuss Fernandinho there. Lads, have you got any other points of that?
I think whatever trio Man City put out, it's always going to be strong, isn't it? So it's not. I wouldn't say it was a fluke. They're all three very good players, and they're all different sort of players. But I don't think it was a fluke.
Now, the reason why he asks, was it a fluke, is because when I originally criticised them, I listed all the times that they hadn't actually performed in big games. Now, the Chelsea game, of course, was a big game, but we'll get on to Chelsea more later on as well. But I still think Manchester City are there, but they're not there, if that makes any sense. They haven't jumped that final boundary yet. They need to, in my opinion, and that is either winning back-to-back titles, which they haven't done ever in their reign. They've never done it. Chelsea came back every time, or Man United came back, or winning something huge like the Champions League and proving they're the best team in Europe.
They need a Champions League. Yeah, they really need a Champions League within the next 2 or 3 years to be considered a major European big side.
Yeah, I've got to agree with that, definitely. I mean, you know, Europeans' best clubs, you got to compete with them and make sure you can win something in Europe.
And would you say with that three, Manchester City can do it? Midfield trio. Now, obviously, the rest of Manchester City are quality anyway. Yeah. So, is it a different? Do you see a different three winning the league and the Champions League with that, or is it that three that you see going forward?
I think the three. I think in the lesser games that they've got to play, I think they can change it around. But I think those three for both the Champions League and the Premier League, like big games, I think they can play and lead them to the possibly Champions League. We'll see.
Right, yeah, that was meant to be quick, but it took us like 4 minutes. Moving on very quickly. Lastly, sorry to PSG. Adam is the only person that gets a buy on here because he was like, no, it's going to be a close game. But me and Tom said Man United would walk them, and the opposite happened. But we'll get into that anyway. So, finally, we can fully start the show. Welcome to the Hat Trick Podcast. This week's football was... I know I've heard a lot of people say it's depressing and it was like an international break, but I thought it was absolutely cracking.
I thought it was good. I think people are just saying that because of how spread out it is. Because they play, so it's like over 4 days, isn't it? Essentially Friday to Monday. So they say, so people just find it boring. But I've enjoyed it myself.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought the FA Cup was back to its best. The Championship, as always, as not being a Championship fan, proved me that it's an amazing league, and obviously the rest of the other EFL 90 were absolutely incredible also. So we'll start with the biggest game of the weekend, which was last night's game, Man United Chelsea. Adam, you watched the game. What are your points from the game there, sir?
I did. My real point was that Chelsea really dominated the ball. I thought didn't really create much with it, but they really dominated the game. But then Man United on the counter attack, both goals were 2 crosses into the box. Really great balls as well. Pogba managed to get onto the second one, which was kind of a diving header. I thought it was really good, but Chelsea didn't really turn up in terms of creating chances.
This is the thing, because we all know how good Paul Pogba is, and he's starting to actually play up to that price tag that he's got, and we all are like, yeah, they're all amazing, they're incredible. But is it the fact that, as we alluded to last week, Chelsea don't have a leader, and we've said this multiple times, Chelsea don't have an actual leader on that pitch, or is it that this style of football isn't suiting them and it's Sarri's fault?
Well, they're having a lot of the ball, aren't they? So they're playing Sarri ball, but they're not putting the ball in the back of the net against these big sides. Mm-hmm. They are struggling. And I've seen a few comments lately saying, is Eden Hazard the problem with the front three, with the strikers? Because the way he plays, he doesn't get the ball into the box, and he's not the greatest passer of the ball from what I've seen. So do you think he's the problem, and why the Chelsea strikers haven't really thrived as much?
Possibly. I thought Hazard was a bit off his game yesterday. I mean, he played some nice balls, like short passing, but didn't really pick out a target. Higuain had a great chance
against Romero,
yeah, but his touch wasn't the greatest, and it kind of got away from him. But I think if Higuain needs to improve, obviously I think Hazard has to improve, and that's who he's going to get his service off to score goals.
But right, so this is the thing, because we spend a lot of time looking at Chelsea's midfield and where Kante should play and where Hazard should play and where Higuain should play, but I think the main problem is that they just need a jolt of electricity. I personally don't like the team they put out last night. Pedro started for Chelsea, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did. So why is he playing? Sorry to Pedro. Sorry to all Chelsea fans that like Pedro. Why is he playing? You've got a talented young English player on your bench in Callum Hudson-Odoi that does exactly what Maurizio Sarri wants you to do. Plays balls into the box, is rapid, does that. He is your counter Marcus Rashford, because that's how Man United used Rashford last night. They absolutely battered him down the wings, and if you were going to look at that Man United team, you would say they are poor defensively. PSG absolutely battered them down the wing. Di Maria had a mint game midweek. You'd look at that, you'd learn, you'd go, get him on, get Hazard on, batter him down the wings, put as many balls as you can in the box, Higuain will score one. Surely. That's just me.
Surely he'll get on the end of at least one of them, as long as they're putting the ball in the box.
But for me, it goes back to this stubbornness of him, that he doesn't want to play like that.
To be fair, I mean, Pedro had probably the best chance of the game for Chelsea. I think it came from a David Luiz free kick.
The side foot volley.
Yeah, and then came back to him,
good free kick by David Luiz.
Yeah, definitely. But I've got to say, I do agree with you. I think Hudson-Odoi should be coming in for Pedro, especially. I feel when he's on the pitch, he can create more and then definitely get more service up to the strikers.
Just pushing Hudson-Odoi away even more into it. Just not giving him this game time in these big games against like Man United. You got a chance to go on in the FA Cup, possibly win it.
Yeah,
but now they've got to focus on the Carabao Cup, haven't they?
Absolutely, of course.
I reckon that's when Sarri will be gone. I think once they get pacing off Man City, Sarri will be gone.
So, you're on about the cup final,
the Carabao Cup final,
this weekend. We'll obviously get to that. Adam, you had a bet that he won't make it to the cup final. Was it you that said he wouldn't make it to the cup final, or was it Tom? It was you.
I didn't think he would make the cup final, but looking at it now, it just gives Chelsea. They don't need a reason, but it'll give them even more of a reason to sack him.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they go get beat 4-0 in the final, which is It's easily possible.
Or we could have another 6.
Yeah. So if they get beat 4-0, say, he'll be gone.
You think so?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right, we'll move on because we spent way too much talking about a football game there. So Man City Newport, obviously Man City were winners. They won 4-1 in the end, but for me that doesn't tell the story of the game. Newport were plucky. They were very, very good. They did very well in the first half there. Any thoughts, gentlemen?
Yeah, it was a valiant effort from them, definitely. To take him, was it 0-0 at half time?
It was.
Yeah, it was a. We played him a while ago. Tough game. I think it was 0-0. They know how to defend at home. They're very solid at the back, and that's what they needed to do. They needed to sit back. If they came out at Man City, no chance it'd be 0-0 at half time. Yeah, definitely. So I think for them to be 0-0 at half time, and then they gave it a go. That goal they scored, Route 1 football right at the end. A great effort from them.
They did what they could. I thought Newport, they did all they could to stop Man City for as long as possible. Chelsea, like we're on about Chelsea again, Chelsea were 4-0 down after 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Newport 0-0 at half time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And
brilliant.
Man City didn't put out a weak side.
They never do. Right, do they have a weak side?
No.
That's a question for another day. Phil Foden's pretty good at football. We all agree that he was the best player on the pitch, in my opinion. I thought he was excellent. There is a question, does he get more game time? Does he need more game time, or is he going to leave? No, because if he does get more game time, he's pushing out players that are possibly fighting for Young Player of the Year, David Silva, Bernardo Silva. He's also could be pushing out KDB or Gundogan. You can't fit him in that team. Where do you fit him in that team when there's world-class players there? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't. Mahrez is hardly getting any game time.
Yeah, exactly.
This was his first start in a while. He hasn't played in a Premier League game for quite some
So
time.
what do you do as Phil Foden? Do you
Champions League, in my opinion.
do you stay around? And what I'm saying is, do you stay around to fight for that game time, knowing you've got the likes of De Bruyne and Gundogan, David Silva, Bernardo Silva in front of you, or do you move on like Jadon Sancho left Man City to get more game time regular?
For me, I'd wait a year because David Silva's not going to be this great. He's 33, 34 now, isn't he? He's getting on and he's still incredible. So I'd wait a couple of years. I know it's pushing into your prime time and this, that and the other, but you're still developing under the world's best coach, he is the best coach in the world at the moment. So I'd stay there. That's me. Why would you leave?
Like I say, I would probably give it till next season, and if you're not getting game time even in the Champions League as such, then you've got to go. But I think Pep will give him his chance.
I might leave, to be fair. If he's good, I think he's good enough to be in and around the England squad, but obviously with the game time he's not getting, he's not going to be in debate for that. So I think if he goes maybe to another Premier League club, he'd definitely have a chance to get in the England team.
Okay, then we'll move on. We've got Swansea Brentford, which was a good game. I enjoyed Swansea Brentford. We had some absolutely quality goals. We had some terrible defending, and we had Usain Bolt in a Swansea shirt.
Yeah. I think it was a chance for Brentford. I think they wasted. Obviously going 1-0 up, first off, and then they had 19 shots in this game, but only 3 on target. Shooting practice on Monday.
And obviously they had the red card as well, didn't they?
Tale of two halves, wasn't it?
Definitely. But yeah, Swansea showed up and really battered him, to be fair, 4-1.
They're picking up a bit recently, Swansea. They're finding a bit of form at the right time for if they're going to try and make that playoff push as well in the Championship.
Well, we've seen it before. The Championship's an open thing. We'll discuss the Championship later, but I think really, especially with this FA Cup draw that we've had, which we'll get onto later when we've discussed all the teams and who won of the draw, I think they've got a real chance. I really do. Well, when we see the draw, they haven't got a chance, but they have at the same time. Do you understand what I mean? So obviously they did very well. Well done, Swansea. A lot of people are saying that they've underachieved this season, but I don't think they have. They've got a brand new manager who obviously he's from the Swiss league?
Swedish league,
sorry.
From Ostersunds.
Yeah. So fair play to him, in my opinion. He's done a very good job. I think he's done a good job there because they've got one hand tied behind their back. They sold all their best players in the summer. They haven't really bought anyone else. They've brought youth players in and done that lot. So it's not been really a a good start for him.
No, well, they nearly lost Dan James and Leroy Fer as well in January.
Yeah.
I mean, they're lucky that they've still got them.
They are. We'll move on to Crystal Palace beating a League One side, because that's what they should do in an FA Cup.
Yeah, they were definitely too much for him. I mean, really early on, I think at the 8th minute, Palace scored.
Yeah.
They turned it on when they wanted to, really. I mean, second half, they just really play the game out, yeah. But they could score when they wanted to. That's what.
Well, saying that, like taking the foot off the gas, it definitely was a tale of two halves, because in the second half, Doncaster Rovers, who Crystal Palace played, they had 11 shots in the second half. That's incredible. You finish the game total with 19 shots and you lose 2-0 against the Premier League team. Now that's good defending. It's good planning by Roy Hodgson and doing everything like that. It's nice to see Max Mayer actually getting a goal as soon as I take him out of my fantasy team, and he hasn't done really anything for them, to say that he got released from Schalke and doing that, and he was a good signing for them in the season, but he hasn't really done anything. I'd like to see him push on more in the second half of the season. I don't know about you lot.
Yeah, he's definitely he needs the game time. He's been very in and out. When he has played, Hodgson's played him on the left, and he's not a wide left player. He's a number 10.
He's a number 10.
There's a reason a lot of the big clubs 2 years ago were saying that they wanted him.
Yeah.
Because he was phenomenal for Schalke. And I was really surprised when he signed for Palace.
Yeah, as was everybody. Right, we'll move on to the lesser of good games of the FA Cup, because there's always some. QPR Watford went through with an Etienne Capoue goal. QPR had a load of shots, and probably, if they look back on it, feel done by on themselves.
Yeah, they had quite a few offsides as well. They were putting the balls in the box, and then the main striker was just always offside. Watford felt like they came with a game plan. Give QPR the ball, and we'll try and get what we can on set pieces, and that's exactly what happened on the corner.
Yep, absolutely. Right, we'll move on to Millwall Wimbledon. I don't know about you lot. I think this was an opportunity wasted by Wimbledon. It's at home, where they absolutely battered West Ham and in the previous round, and the Wimbledon manager before the game said it was going to be a gritty performance. It was going to be a solid, hard game, and it wasn't.
No.
It really wasn't. Millwall looked like the better team on the pitch, and they were the better team. They scored early and just saw the game out. Yeah,
Wimbledon one shot on target. I mean, that says it all, really.
Yeah,
one shot on target home. Like you said, Doncaster had 11 shots.
Yeah.
in the second half.
Yeah.
Against Palace. So,
and they had 11 shots altogether, and it's just I don't know. Stats tell us all these things. Stats tell us this, that, and the other. But I personally think they were just too much, and it was an opportunity wasted. It really was, especially with a tie like this.
Yeah,
I think it was just an opportunity wasted there. Right, we'll move on to Bristol City Wolves. Bristol City actually lost a game, guys. Wow.
They were really unlucky in this game, definitely. He should have had a penalty, I thought.
Do you reckon it should have been?
Yeah, he had his hand. I think his hand was in a natural position, so I thought it was a penalty. And then
it's one of them, though, isn't it?
I don't think it is one of them. I think his arm's clearly out in a natural position, so I'd give that a penalty, 100%.
Fair play. Obviously, we can say this again and again and again. Matt Dockett is incredible.
Yeah,
he is. He's an absolute great midfielder, and same with Conor Cody. He's done absolutely brilliant as well. So fair play to Wolves for actually playing well. They missed an absolute sitter from the Jimenez back heel as well.
Yeah,
that should have definitely been a goal. So Raul Jimenez missing sitters. What a surprise! Right, we'll move on to the last one. We've kept this last for a particular reason, because we're also going to move on to the Championship as well as after this, and it links into Derby, because Tom was not a happy bunny this week, because we watched the Derby game on Tuesday with him this time last week. It was Wednesday, wasn't it? Wednesday, sorry. And he wasn't a happy bunny then when they drew with Ipswich. We'll get into that. But I don't know. I don't know what you were supposed to do in this game against Brighton, because they aren't a good team. But yeah, you still lost. It was at Brighton.
We were awful. They were there for the taking. We sat off them. We gave them too much respect, and ultimately it's cost us. Because if you watch the last 20 minutes of that game, you'd have thought we were the Premier League side, because we were absolutely battering them for the last 15-20 minutes.
Yeah.
But you can't play like that for 10-15 minutes and expect to get anything from the game.
Yeah, I thought Brighton played well. You know, Knockout is a bit inconsistent, I feel. You know, he only turns up for certain games, and I mean, at the weekend that was definitely a game he turned up for, and a great finish.
He's the most rated, underrated player in the Premier League.
Yeah, that's a way of saying it. Yeah.
Everyone always says, "Yeah, I rate Anthony Knockout. He's a bit underrated," so that's why I say it like that. Obviously, we'll talk about Ashley Cole. It's his first game. He's won. There's only 4 teams that have won the FA Cup more than Ashley Cole, which is incredible. And fair play to him. He's a journeyman that's gone to Derby, and he scored a goal, and it was a decent goal actually.
First FA Cup goal as well.
Wasn't a bad one. So fair play to them. But obviously, as I said to you off camera and off pod, you've played a lot of games this year.
We have.
You've played the most out of any of the 5 leagues, so I'm told. So being out the FA Cup might not be a bad thing.
Possibly not, but if we can't... So we've got Millwall tomorrow night at home. If we don't win that game...
Playoffs are done, you think?
I'd say they are, because you've got to beat teams like that at home. I mean, I know they've hit, it's a good bit of form recently, but you've got to beat them.
Absolutely, right. That's the FA Cup. Right, we'll move on to the Championship. And it was good this week. It was a good championship. Now, before we move on to the championship, there is actually a bit of breaking news from the EFL. Well, we'll start with all the EFL leagues and everything like that. Their chief CEO has said that he is going to resign. That's Sean Harvey, the CEO of the EFL. He will leave his position at the end of this season, and they will appoint an interim CEO before they actually do this. Now, I've looked over social medias, and a lot of EFL fans are very happy about this.
Including
I
me.
am not an EFL fan. I'm a Premier League fan because I support Newcastle, and we're not really an EFL club. But I need to find your guys' view on this, because it is big. He is resigned as kind of an idiot, but I don't know much about it. So go, Adam.
Yeah, definitely. My biggest concern about him, you know, as a person in charge of the EFL, was definitely the changes to the EFL trophy, well, now named the Checker Trade Trophy. That was the biggest for me. Obviously, this was a chance for lower league clubs, Leagues 1 and 2, you know, have a chance at Wembley, and then he changed it for under 23 teams from the Premier League and Championship to try and, you know, increase game time for youth players, and that wasn't happening either, because I mean, I remember Stoke under 23s, they were putting players in like Charlie Adam and Darren Fletcher, just, you know, to give them game time, and I just felt he was taking the mick, to be honest, because it was an awful decision. And
are you saying that because you're a Port Vale fan and you're on about Stoke, or are you just generally making a point? I know you're making a point. I'm trying to jive at you as well. It'd be funny.
That's not just Stoke. That's every team was putting, you know, older players on, and I feel that. I mean, I could rant on for the Checker Trade for hours, but I just think it was a massive mistake to do this, and, you know, fans boycotted it. I think Port Vale's lowest attendance, I think it was like under 900.
Is an EFL game.
Yeah, that was a record. You know, so
an 18,000 seat stadium.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had an 18,000
That's actually 19.
That's massive. That's bigger than Bournemouth's.
It is, yeah.
That's bigger than Bournemouth's.
There's loads of teams.
That's
like that.
Brilliant. Right, anyway, off from sadness, because obviously the good news is he's not asking for a payout like the Premier League one was, and all of the 90 clubs don't have to pay like £50,000 or something like that. So that's good. We'll move on to actually good teams playing good football, and Sheffield United are pretty good. Yeah, they're pretty good at football. They obviously won 4-0 against Bolton, and were very, very good in the game.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Billy Shot wasn't needed at all. He was on the bench and didn't need to come on, obviously, but the 4 goals. Reading, you know, you thought they might be going in the right direction, and then a loss like that, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, they're right in the thick of it still.
Yeah, they really are. We'll move on to the relegation later on. The Canaries. Look at the Canaries still tweeting. I love them. Obviously, Timo Pukki scoring 2 more after I said he couldn't hit a barn door. Celtic, what a legend. He's now top scorer in the league, and
Bargain of the season.
yeah, Bolton are just Bolton are. We'll move on to Bolton.
They need to go down.
Yeah, we'll move on to Bolton and the lower league clubs because they're actually getting taken over, so that's always good news for them. But Norwich absolutely battered them. I don't know who's going to go up, but I personally think it'll be Norwich and Sheffield United in the automatics. I don't know about the rest of yours.
I think it'll be Leeds and Norwich.
Norwich, Sheffield United, I'll go with that as well.
Norwich, Sheffield United. Aston Villa didn't actually come back from the game from 2 goals down this time. They lost 2-0 at West Brom. That's not a good result for them, especially when they didn't even play Tammy Abraham. He didn't play. So he didn't play, they didn't score. What a surprise.
No, I mean, they dominate the ball. As I say, with so many teams now playing, around the back and trying to keep possession, it just doesn't work. I mean, 63% possession in this game, and they didn't really create much, you got to say.
No, I thought they were very poor, but that was me. I watched the game and I thought they were terrible. I did not enjoy the way they played at all. Somebody please tell Ipswich they're relegated, because they don't seem to know. They don't seem to know the bottom of the league, and they won't go to League One without a fight by the looks of it. Will Keane, ex-Man United, still on loan from Man United, scoring a 92nd minute equaliser against Stoke.
Yeah, I mean, for Stoke fans, you got to be thinking, are you worse under Jones than you were under Rowett?
Yep.
They're not improved. Not improved at all, have they?
No, they haven't.
Is that the players? Does it look like that's the play? It's the players now rather than the manager.
Yeah, you see fans on the local phoning saying, "Well, were we wrong? Should we stick with Rowett for that season?" It's difficult, to go back straight from the.
It's easy to say that now. Jones is struggling with his start.
But there again, Jones has never had to have divas, has he?
No,
never had to have these
He's
divas.
had hard-working players that want to play for the club.
Yeah, and we speak about Stoke and we do this, that, and the other, and the news today that Sario Berahino got arrested on Sunday for a drunk driving charge, that it just piles more terrible on them, and that's his second drunk driving charge in near enough 2 seasons. And he hasn't scored many goals this season. He's a headache in any dressing room for them. I think he's a problem for them, but their leaders on the pitch, what's Charlie Adam doing? Is he even playing for them?
No, I mean, a lot of
what's
people
Ryan
want him
Shawcross doing? Martins Brunez Indy, Jack Butland, who was an England goalkeeper.
And he's being found out now for being what he actually is now.
What?
He's not as good as everyone thought he was. He's having a very poor season.
Definitely. I mean, I remember that very first game against Leeds. He had, that shouldn't have been as big as scoring as it was, because Butland should have made some saves that went in.
Absolutely. So when we look through the championship in the season and do everything like that, what we look at always, this was disappointment, this was disappointment, this was disappointment. This is a disappointment. We expected them, and maybe West Brom, who are still there, and probably Middlesbrough as well, because they had Tully Pulis, to be up there, and 2 of them are. Stoke are not getting playoffs, in my opinion. They're not turning it around.
No chance.
They are probably more in a relegation fight than they are in a playoff contention, and that, if you're a Stoke City fan, is absolutely shocking. You don't want to be Sunderland. You don't want a Netflix special where you're crying on it, and you are the embarrassment of a city where we'll get on Vale later, but you don't want to be an embarrassment there. I think it's terrible, I honestly do, and the Stoke brass should be ashamed of themselves, because it's them that's got them into this. It's not the Stoke fans or the players. Yeah, the players are on way too much wages, and they need to bin a load of them. But we'll move on anyway. We will round up the rest of them, because throughout the week, not just the weekend, there was midweek games as well, as Tom knows full and well. So we'll run through them very quickly. On Tuesday night, Bristol City won 2-1 at QPR. West Brom, Nottingham Forest was a great game. Obviously, Dwight Gale got done for diving and didn't play this weekend, and they didn't need him anyway. Brentford beat Villa again because Tony Abraham didn't play. Norwich lost 3-1 and cost everybody an acca because they got beat by Preston, which is embarrassing. Swansea beat Leeds. Derby drew at Ipswich, which is where I'm coming from. Please, someone tell Ipswich they're going down. Wigan Stoke was 0-0 and boring. Reading, fresh off that, like Blackburn, obviously victory, couldn't do against Sheffield United, who beat Middlesbrough 1-0. And obviously that's the rest of the championship. Tomorrow night, obviously we've got midweek games. We've got QPR West Brom that's on today, and then tomorrow night we've got Derby County Millwall, and all the rest of the weekend's games there. I think West Brom will beat QPR, and I honestly think the Millwall Derby game will be a draw.
I think home wins for both. I feel.
You think QPR will do West Brom?
QPR at home. I think definitely.
I think you're dreaming a bit there, Adam.
I'll go West Brom and I've got to go Derby.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, you don't have to, but you kind of should. Then at the weekend, we've got Sheffield Wednesday, not United, against Swansea. That's big game mid-table, I think.
Draw.
You draw? Millwall Preston, Wigan Ipswich, which is a big relegation one. We'll move on to that in a minute. Middlesbrough QPR, that's a Borough victory. That's poor. That's a really hard one for QPR, that, isn't it? That's unlucky for them. West Brom, then Middlesbrough in a week. Terrible. Reading Rotherham, which is another relegation battle clencher. Brentford Hull City, Leeds Bolton, and the late kickoff on Saturday is West Brom Sheffield United. But the game of the weekend is Norwich Bristol City.
Yeah,
that's a big game. That's a very, very big game. I'm surprised that's not the late kickoff. That'd be a better game than West Brom Sheffield United for me.
I think Norwich for me in that game.
You're going Norwich?
Yeah.
I'm hoping Norwich.
You're hoping Norwich? Gosh, you are, you Derby legend. And then obviously on Monday next week, 6 days from now, we have Nottingham Forest Derby. Big game.
Absolutely huge.
Big game.
And I would not be surprised if it finishes 0-0 for the third time in a row.
I wouldn't be either, to be honest with you. I really wouldn't. Are you going?
No.
Shame. Right, so the relegation battle is officially on. Obviously, with Wigan playing all the teams around them, Wigan, Millwall, Reading, Rotherham, and Bolton are all in that fight. And, well, I'd say Bolton are probably down, but they're 3 points from Reading and Rotherham. And it's 26-34 anyway, and it's close. There's a lot of games still to be played and a lot of football. So it is very close. I'm still saying Ipswich are down, I'm sorry. I know they've got the resurgence, but I'm still saying they're down.
Yeah, I'd say Ipswich are gone for sure. They're too many points off. And they're picking up draws, obviously.
They picked
up a draw against us and a draw against Stoke. I mean, they are good. If you look at them, they are good results, but when you're down there, you need to be winning games rather than drawing them.
Third highest amount of draws this season. Ipswich. Just saying. But obviously, Bolton are now only 3 points from Rotherham and Reading, and 4 points from Millwall, and obviously the 6 from. But
they've got to go to Leeds, haven't they, this weekend, Bolton, and then Reading, Rotherham play each other.
Yeah,
so
that'll be a really, really big game.
If one of Reading or Rotherham win, there will be 6 points clear of Bolton.
Yeah.
So it's just, unless Bolton pull off something at Leeds, then
yeah, it's going to be a big one. It really is. We'll have a look more in the Championship next week after all them results have happened, and we will wait and see what happened. Right, we'll move on. League One. Since we were last here, League One, not a lot happened actually. I mean, Sunderland drew again. And again, they drew twice again, because it's Sunderland and they love drawing. Doncaster, before their FA Cup defeat at the weekend, they won 3-0 at Southend on a Tuesday night game, and Wimbledon actually won a game away at Walsall. So we'll see the effects of that. But the weekend, the big game, realistically, was... I don't really know. I'm looking at these fixtures and it was just terrible. Luton won again.
I'd say Luton
won again.
Was a big game.
Well done, Luton. They won again. Which is miraculous, seeing as though their head of recruitment is now their manager, which is mental. It's not even like a backroom coach that's taken over or anything like that. It's head of recruitment that's done it, and I think it's a really big credit to Luton. I really do.
Nick Harford, he's doing a great job.
It's their 20th win. I think that's in a row. 20th win in a row, which is a club record. And they're setting records left, right and centre. Most goals scored ever in the club's history. Most points so far taken. Could finish with the ever... Obviously they're going to finish with the highest ever points in Luton history because they've already taken the most. So they're doing very well. We've got to give them credit. We really do. And if they get promoted, when they get promoted, I think they will have a higher option of managers in the Championship, which could push them on further.
I don't think they change it at the minute. I think they keep him on, even though he hasn't really had any manager experience. Does he not want the job?
No, he said he didn't want the job.
Oh, right.
Said at the weekend when they interviewed him, he said that he didn't want the job.
Okay.
He's quite happy where he was, which was head of recruitment.
Nice and comfortable.
So he said he was happy where he was. So which is fair play to him. If you're happy, aren't you? Right, we will. I mean, Sunderland. I spoke about Sunderland last week, and I'm going to moan about Sunderland again. I'm a Newcastle United fan. I have my right. Sunderland have bottled it.
Big time.
They've bottled it.
Yeah, but I mean, it shows good character to come back from 2-0 down, but it shouldn't be drawing those games, definitely.
And Portsmouth were even worse. They were 3-0 up at half time.
3-0. It's not good, is it? You need to. You're 3-0 up. You got to see those games out if you want to go up top two. This
is the point. You have to do it. You have to. Peterborough are pushing for that promotion now, and fair play to Peterborough if they actually get there. They got promoted last season, didn't they?
No, they were in the playoffs in League One last season.
Shame. Well, they're pushing on.
They're very inconsistent.
Right. Inconsistency seems to be a theme for us here at the Hat-Trick Podcast. We're not inconsistent, other teams are, which is just...
It's the same in the Championship, League 1, League 2. You just need to go on a run of 6, 7, 8 wins and you're there. Like I said, if you're in the playoffs now and you go and get 8 wins, you would more than likely get in that top 2 or 3.
There are some midweek games this week for League One. We've got Barnsley-Burton. Obviously, if Barnsley win, then they're going to be... They have some space, more space from Portsmouth, who play relegation rivals Bristol Rovers. Right, Portsmouth aren't in the relegation, but I think Bristol will go down. Sunderland have got Gillingham. They'll probably draw again. Accrington Stanley have got Oxford and Rochdale Wimbledon. Big games down the bottom of the table this week. Very big. The Rochdale-Wimbledon one is a big one. If Wimbledon are going to close that gap at any point.
I can't see it. I see a draw, but yeah, I can't see Wimbledon.
Wimbledon is relegated as Ipswich are in the Championship, I'd say.
Yeah, probably. But as we've said, stranger things have happened, and we are there. Notts County, are they giant killers, Adam?
No, they're not. I mean, even if you look at their running now, Notts County probably got arguably the hardest running in the league with the teams they've got to play. I mean, this game, you'd have expected Mansfield to win, and then they just didn't turn up. It sounded like Notts County.
But it's a local derby getting into it, so anything can happen. Anything could happen in that game. Obviously, Notts County came out on top.
Yeah, so obviously
when they needed to.
You've got obviously Newport at home, which is, you should really be winning those games. But then after that, Tranmere away, Cheltenham away, who were really good at home, by the way. Just their away form is diabolical.
Exeter, Tranmere, Grimsby.
Yeah, they've got Crewe at home. Crewe have only lost. No, sorry, Crewe away. Crewe have only lost 3 games all season at home.
And the only team that's around them they've got to play is Morecambe and Vale. Sorry.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's going to be a tough game.
Right at the end of the season?
No, the Vale game's pretty soon.
Oh, is it?
3 games, I think.
Yeah, it's not like a relegation decider. They've got to hope other teams do them a favour. Now remember, in League 2 it is only 2 that go down. So they are safe at the moment. They're on 36 and they're 6 points, 7 points from safety at the moment. But it's the
2 points from safety.
Yeah, sorry, I got them mixed up with Cambridge United. I apologise. That's my fault. Sorry, Cambridge fans. I'm not accusing you of being Notts County and everything like that. Macclesfield, what's wrong with them? They can't kill off a game. They can't do it.
Obviously, a lot of the players don't have much, football league experience. So obviously, when game management comes into it, they aren't as, gifted as maybe other teams are, and really can't shut out a game.
They should have won that game, though.
Well, yeah. Well, as the points I've just said, they should be shutting out these games, but obviously the other teams have got more experience.
Like Sol Campbell as well, going in his first job.
Really should be running the ball into the, just keeping the possession, keeping the ball, just trying to slow the game down, rather than probably possibly go for 2.
Taking it a bit light-hearted before we go to Lincoln, a couple of the Macclesfield players said in the media that Saul Campbell's like a weird dude.
I've seen a lot of stuff
he's
online
just
regarding
weird.
You see interviews
That
of
he
him,
is.
which is a bit weird. I mean, his first one, where he called himself like one of the best England players to ever play, you know.
I mean, I'm not an Arsenal fan. None of us are really like Arsenal fans or anything like that, or Spurs fans, or we're England fans. But I don't know about that, really.
Yeah,
No.
just a bit daft. But
Yeah, he's a bit daft. Lincoln, they drew again. They're bottling this league.
Last
no, they're
kick of
not.
the game.
Yeah, son of
although they're picking up points though. I mean,
They are. They're not losing,
Not
which is
losing
there.
games.
But if you lose a
So
2-0 lead in the last 5 minutes of a game,
obviously it's
I think
gutting.
that's a bad.
But, you know, obviously with Mansfield losing, you know, Mansfield have lost quite a few now.
Yeah,
So I mean, as long as you're picking up points, you know, you're always going in the right direction.
yeah. That's very true, Adam. But Bury, blooming Bury have won again. It's a great season for Bury.
Yeah, and their running is, I'd say, probably one of the easiest.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say they're title favourites now. The way they're playing, you know, Lincoln really. I said earlier they're drawing, but you know, with a team like Bury on the form they're in, I can see them going on to win it.
And they've got a big game coming up at the end of this month, next week, next Tuesday, 7:45, EFL Trophy semi-final against Portsmouth. Is that played at Wembley, or is that like home and
No,
away?
that'll be home. No, I think. Is it 2 legs or 1 leg?
It's 1 leg, and then they have a area final, don't they? Do they still have the area final?
That is. Well, they don't have the area. That kind of is the
or is
semi-final.
that their area final?
That's the area final.
Oh, okay.
That counts as the area final.
Well, not the area. That finished last round. The last round was the first round where it wasn't an area.
Yeah,
Because obviously Bury, Portsmouth, Portsmouth, South Bury, North. So
yeah. So it's
yeah, they've
It's
kind
a
of got rid
close
of
game.
that. Yeah.
it's a close one. I think. I don't know who's going to take that. I don't know who's favourites for the trophy. To be honest with you,
Who's left in it?
them, Bury, Portsmouth, Bury, and Sunderland, Bristol Rovers.
I'd say Portsmouth probably favourites for that now.
Yeah, but they've been terrible over the last couple of weeks. They were terrible.
Probably see it once it most because you know obviously it isn't the
Yeah,
most
absolutely. It's not.
decorative trophy now.
But it's a
obviously.
day at Wembley though. Like I
but
love a day at Wembley.
That's how the trophy's been killed off in a way, just with how it's been dealt with by Sean Harvey.
Yeah, bless him, idiot, absolute fool. Whoever they promote next can't do a worse job. Surely, is that your thinking there, Adam? Can't do a worse job, surely.
You just got to like look at it, like see what he did clearly wrongly, just do a better job. I mean, the first thing I'd do is change how the trophy works. Really, that's what I'd do first.
And
I'd rather. Well,
Yeah,
obviously I'm a Derby fan, so the EFL trophy doesn't affect me or you as you're a Newcastle fan. But I'd rather it be just a straight knockout competition rather than a group stage.
That's how it always was. Yeah.
Like, why can't it just be straight knockouts? Why have you got to do a group stage?
yeah, it's a bit strange. Before we leave the EFL and round up the Champions League, there has been a bit of breaking news that we've obviously come over today. That is that Leeds have been fined £200,000 and given a formal reprimand. Was in the press release. The word reprimand was in the press release. A formal reprimand by the EFL over the Spygate at Derby last month. I think it's a joke, me. I don't see why they got fined for it, but fine. Yeah, get fined for it. Carry on doing it. See what happens.
Yeah, it was a bit of a joke, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm just glad it's over and done with. I'm sick of hearing about it.
Is that the only positive light that Derby have been seen in the last couple of months, do you think?
I don't know. It's just, why is it? It's been what now? A whole month.
Yeah.
Why is it taking this long just to say, look, here's a fine, don't do it again?
Yeah.
Why is it taking 4 or 5 weeks for him to come up with this conclusion?
Still, Bielsa's press conference was meant. It was absolute quality, where he just walks in, is just like, this is why we do this!
It was probably worth it just for that.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was absolutely incredible. Right, we'll round up some actually good football then, gentlemen.
Have we got one more game to talk about in League Two?
We do, but I was going to skip it because I don't know if you wanted to actually talk about it.
We can talk about it.
Right, okay.
I'm in a better mood now.
Bury got beat again.
Bury.
No, not Bury. Bury did not get beat again. They won, and they're probably now title favourites, according to Adam Swindles, who we're going to pass over to now because he's going to talk about Port Vale and their owner protests and how the match went this weekend because he was there.
Yeah, so the match was a complete joke, to be fair. I mean, by how we played, it was just awful. I mean, probably one of the worst performances this season. Although I've got a stat here: more chances created in the last 2 games than the previous 4 combined. So it shows progress under Askey, but obviously, how many games have I been to where we say, "Oh, we've created all these chances, you haven't scored. We shouldn't be in this position with the chances we've created, but you've got to score," and that's our issue at the minute. Lowest scorers in the league.
I mean, that young lad for you picked up a few goals in the conference as well, hasn't he?
Diorangus. He needs to.
The point that I'm going to make is the last couple of weeks that since you've had the manager change and you've had this, that and the other, I've looked at the League 2 Team of the Week, and the goalkeepers they've faced have been in League 2 Team of the Weeks. So they've had absolute worldies. They've played amazingly good. And yeah, when you're down at the bottom, you need a bit of luck. You do. You just need that one game that you're going to have a bit of luck. And you thought on Saturday you might have had that, especially when you got the penalty, but then no, even if it's going top bins, the keeper has an absolute great. I seriously suggest people go on Port Vale's YouTube channel and have a look at this because it is an absolutely great save. It is incredible.
I mean, I haven't looked at it back.
I watched it when you told me at our pre-production meeting how great it was. I went back and watched it, and it's up there. It is a very, very good save. Penalty. The penalty isn't strong, but it is well placed. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's the first penalty he's missed in his career, that aren't in a penalty shootout.
Oh my god!
And that was for Tom Pope's 100th Port Vale goal.
Talk about luck, right? That's some devil stuff right there. That someone sold their soul to go.
He's been on 99 goals forever. He probably finished his career on 99 goals for Port Vale. I mean,
Jesus.
If there's anyone you wanted on the penalty as well, it is him.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Then obviously the protests before the game. Numbers shown. There was plenty of them there. I mean, whether Smurthwaite was listening to him. I mean, he was definitely there at the stadium. We also decided to not give out hot food to everyone there, the fans, because his statement was, "They're starving me out, so I'm going to starve them out." So
that's absolutely awful.
So
I'm sorry, I say that with a giant smile on my face because I love that kind of shithousery by actual gaffers. I love it.
Yeah,
I love that. That's awful.
Fire with fire.
I know. I can't believe that. No, you can't even have a pie at a game because your owner's been an absolute arse.
I mean, it doesn't really affect me. I normally just eat on away days, but I mean, home game I normally just take food myself because you can get away with it more, like taking the bag in.
Yeah, because it's probably a bit expensive.
Yeah. So
what is it for a pie at Port Vale, or what was it before he banned them?
It's probably around most grounds £2 or £3. I'm not exactly sure.
£2 or £3?
Yeah, see, at Pride Park it's £3.90.
What?
For a pie.
That's cheap. It's £4.50 at St James's.
That's Premier League.
That's Premier League prices for you.
It's £4.50 for a chicken tikka pie at St James's. You don't even get a drink with it.
Yeah.
It's £5.20 if you want a drink with it. That's any drink, like coffee, tea, or booze. It's £5.20 for a pie and a pint. $5.20, which is not bad.
That's good.
Yeah, but the pie on its own.
Yeah, at our place it's $6.50. For a pie and a pint, it's $6.50.
Yeah, so there's some.
I'm not going to Pride Park this season again.
there's some also League 2 action tonight as well.
There is actually. I was going to get onto that, but I missed it completely. No, there is. It's you're playing Tranmere this evening.
Playing Tranmere.
You going, aren't you?
I'm going tonight. Yeah, I'll be there.
We're all university students, for those that don't understand, and he's leaving our lecture halfway through. He's been a proper rebel, scanning in, leaving halfway through to catch his train to go to the game. I don't care. I love it. I think that's commitment, me.
Yeah,
but Wednesday when we all see, when Tom sees you, I'm going home Wednesday. Wednesday when Tom sees you and you're fuming, I might laugh.
I just need this to win. I have gone for a win. I mean, this isn't biased. When I do predictions for games, I go through the same formula. I mean, if you look at our, 11 games, 11 wins. 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 our head-to-head, winning the head-to-head against Tranmere, at Vale Park, and we've had more home wins in our last 20 games than their away wins in their last 20. So,
boom.
I'm going draw.
I've got to go for a win, and then obviously Exeter Bury play. I mean, it's got to be Bury, surely. I mean, Exeter's away form is a lot better than the home, but Bury are just rampant.
Is it Bury? Yeah. Is it Bury? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I reckon they'll beat them then. Exeter, they're in the playoffs, aren't they, or just outside?
No, Exeter Bury was on Saturday, pal.
Was it?
Yeah, Exeter Bury was on Saturday.
Okay. It's come up on mine, but
this week we've got.
Must be wrong.
This week it's Notts County, Newport County, Cheltenham, Cambridge, obviously Vale, Tranmere, and Oldham, Morecambe. They're the games that are on League 2 today. And
could do with Morecambe getting beat, couldn't you? Right.
You could do with Morecambe getting beat
and Notts County losing.
Notts County losing and Cheltenham losing.
No, I prefer Cheltenham to beat. I don't know, Cheltenham, Cambridge, or a draw.
Yeah, draw would probably be better because that, and then obviously if you win, that'd be fine. Right, let's finally actually talk about some Champions League games before we go down the League 2 hole. Okay.
Yeah.
Champions League. Man United got beat by PSG. PSG were quality. Man United weren't. Yeah,
the spark really went. When Lingard and Martial went off, I felt all the pace and the energy from the Man United team went, and then second half PSG
dominated really
the ball and put some good balls into the box, and Mbappe managed to get on for one of them.
Absolutely,
that was a great goal.
Di Maria show, wasn't it?
Yeah, well,
back at Old Trafford,
it was incredible.
Just gave it large,
and then obviously Pogba got sent off, which is big loss for the second leg. It was silly sending off. He shouldn't have done it. Yeah, shouldn't have done it really. Big loss for the second leg. I can't see Man United coming back.
No chance.
Personally,
I can't now.
No, I really don't. Porto lose to the stunning teenage giant of Roma, who. He actually only came this season, right? He came in the Raji Nainggolan deal this season when they obviously sold Nainggolan to Inter Milan. He came as part of that, and he has then gone on and scored 2 goals for them. Yeah, and he hasn't done very much in the week in the league for them, but he has actually done very, very good.
And also props for the old guy as well, Edin Dzeko getting his 2 assists for him. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Very happy for Edin Dzeko. The good man he is. I like Edin Dzeko. I really do.
Scorer.
Yeah,
he's always bounced. Even when he was at Man City, I thought he was underrated at Man City.
The reason
he always scored when he played.
Yep. The reason why I haven't said his name is because I can't pronounce it, so I'm going to go for it. It's Zaniolo. Zaniolo.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Something like
Zaniolo.
Zaniolo is a good one. That's a better one. That's better. Zaniolo. He got the brace for Porto. Real Madrid won with a very amount of ways. No, that didn't land, did it? That really didn't land. Okay.
Although I agree with the VAR. I think most people do.
Was a good,
Obviously, I mean, it was clearly interfering, in the Courtois way in an offside position. So, I mean, I felt with Ajax's performance, though, they definitely deserved a draw out of that. To go to the, back to Madrid.
Yeah.
With it all to play for, and it's unfortunate for them.
Madrid have got a big month next month in March. Like, obviously, they've got the second leg of this at the end of this month. Midweek, they lost to Girona 2-1, coming back from a 1-0 win. It was Sergio Ramos' 25th red card in his career this week when he got sent off. 25!
Most red carded player ever.
That is mad. I'm sorry, that is absolute mad. And then they've got two pretty much back-to-back El Clasicos. They've got one in the semi-finals of the second leg Copa del Rey, and then one in the league. So big month for them. If they get through in the Champions League, I don't think they'll care about anything that happens league-wise.
No, they won't. No way.
No, I don't think so either. And the last one that we'll talk about is Tottenham Hotspur not being Tottenham Hotspur at Wembley, if that makes sense. Spurs were Spursy.
I was very surprised. I was surprised he beat them 3-0.
It was a very good game.
I enjoyed watching it,
Yeah. Me and Tom were watching the Derby game, and Adam was watching the Spurs game on his phone.
On my phone, yeah.
And he was having such a better time than we were watching the Derby game. But anyway, Human Song is great. Jan Vertonghen bossed it.
Super Jan.
He absolute bossed it. Superman. Which is funny because that was his celebration, and I thought it was kind of rubbish. Right, we'll preview the Champions League games that are on today and tomorrow. Today we've got Lyon-Barca. Lyon proved difficult for Man City in the group stage. Yeah. I predict they will also prove difficult for Barcelona.
I reckon they'll. I think they can get a draw, but then Barcelona.
I think Barca will win.
You think Barca will do them?
Yeah.
Do them both legs or do them just this?
Well, I'm thinking this game.
This game.
Well, Barca haven't been at their best this season.
No.
Like they scraped past Vallecano at the weekend 1-0.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll draw in Lyon, but they'll beat them over both legs.
But with the Vallecano win, Messi didn't play.
Yeah, but should they need Messi to beat someone like that easily?
He's their best player. We'll get on to the biggest English game today. Liverpool Bayern. Oh God, I can't predict this. I don't want to.
I don't
want to predict this.
I'll go for. I mean, it was on Super 6. Everyone doing it on Super 6.
I'm going to do it. But
do it.
it's God.
I kind of went out and put a 3-3 draw for this game.
Ooh.
Did you?
Yeah.
That is out there. Fair play to you if you do it, and if you do, this podcast can go on its own because Adam will win 250 grand and do that. He won't spend 250 grand.
I'll put it all into this. We'll buy our own studio.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Bayern Munich, obviously, they're pushing for Bundesliga title as well, especially with Dortmund choking last night and then a 0-0 draw, bottom of the league. They're now 3 points behind Dortmund, and I think Bayern are going to win the league.
I think Bayern will win the league.
I
Now.
also do.
Now, doesn't it?
Yeah, looks like it really does. I think Dortmund have choked
Dortmund
it.
needed that win last night.
They really did, and they just couldn't get anything out of it. Tomorrow we have Atletico Madrid Juventus.
It's going to be a good game.
I've got to go Atletico win at home.
You think so?
Yeah.
They don't like losing at home, but they've also got Diego Costa back. He came back at the weekend, and Ronaldo likes playing at Atletico Madrid's home stadium.
I think Juventus have been better away from home as well, haven't they, in the Champions League?
They are very good
I mean,
away.
losing to Man United at home, it's not.
They also Man United at home, but beat Man United away.
And then tomorrow we've got Schalke Man City. Schalke are terrible in the Bundesliga. They're not doing very well. They're not
Complete
pushing
opposite
for anything
to what they were last season.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, we will look over the Premier League fixtures this weekend. We have the 2 early kickoffs. Adam, what are the 2 early kickoffs?
On the Friday, is that?
Yes.
Yes.
On the Friday.
Cardiff v Watford and West Ham v Fulham.
We say early kickoffs on the Friday because I don't like Friday night football.
Do you not?
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't rate it. I don't rate the first game of the season being on a Friday night. I don't rate this being on a Friday night. Just play that. What's the problem with playing both them games on a Saturday 3 o'clock? There isn't.
Why are they playing Friday? Is there a specific reason?
Well,
I think it's just to spread it out.
I must imagine the West Ham Fulham game is policing reasons.
Yeah.
Because there is also another game in. There isn't even another game in London happening.
What I'm saying. Is it to do with
Not in the same
fixture?
country happening because it's Cardiff.
Funny. That's funny. That's very good. I like that. That's brilliant. But no, there's nothing. Yeah, I don't understand it at all. And one of them will be on telly and one of them won't.
Yeah.
So what's the point? I don't get it. Never mind. Anyway, unless it's because Cardiff have asked for it so that their players and the manager can go to the Salah funeral.
That was last week.
Right, then sod it. Sod it.
It's not that then, yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Yeah,
But anyway, we'll move on to the early kick-off on Saturday. Spurs-Burnley, big game for Spurs.
Yeah.
Big game for Spurs. They need to prove that they are still in the title race, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they will.
It'll be typical Spurs to scrape past them 1-0 or even draw after beating Dortmund 3-0.
Yeah,
That would be typical.
It would be Spurs to get beat or draw against these. Anyway, pushing on to the actual Saturday 3 o'clock games, the normal games of English football, there are only 2. And it's Bournemouth Wolves,
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Newcastle Huddersfield.
Thrilling.
That's the only 2 games on Saturday at 3 o'clock. I hate it. I'm fuming. I don't like
in the
that.
Premier League, there's plenty of other EFL games at 3 o'clock on
Okay,
Saturday.
so there's what? 4
There's plenty of other games in all leagues on the 3 o'clock at Saturday in the EFL
How many
and
Sunday
everyone.
games are there? I bet there's about 4 Premier League games on Sunday, isn't there?
There is. There's three Premier League games on Sunday,
And
and
Monday.
then the
Cup.
EFL Cup game,
Oh.
and the Arsenal Southampton game and the Man United Liverpool game are on at the same time.
Why? Oh, well, I get it because the cup final, isn't it? But why can't you just put one of them at the 3 o'clock Saturday? Just do it. It makes more sense than.
Well, no, the Arsenal game has to be on a Sunday because they played on Thursday in the Europa League, which we're going to cover in a minute because God, it's awful. We'll cover that right at the end of the show because it's terrible.
So it's Arsenal.
I want to rant about Arsenal a little bit because they're a bit useless. But Arsenal have to play on a Sunday, and also Chelsea also would have to play on a Sunday, whether they were playing
in the cup final or not.
In the cup final or not. So
and
that's
the other two games are
obviously Man United, Liverpool.
Man United, Liverpool. Okay.
And Leicester Crystal Palace, is that Sunday as well?
No, that's Saturday late kickoff.
Okay.
That's Saturday late kickoff.
Why is that Saturday?
Well, there's always a Saturday late kickoff.
Yeah,
BT
there's always a Saturday. But why is that the game?
Don't know.
That's a bad game.
I suppose. You know, teams lower down have got to have a certain amount of TV games.
You've got to have a certain amount, but like last week it was Brighton Burnley. Fair enough, it was a 3-1 to Burnley, and it was a half decent game.
It was a good game. I had a lot.
Then you've got Leicester Palace this week. It probably will be a half decent game, but it's like you want the big games on, don't you? Saturday evening.
It annoys me. Anyway, we'll move through them. West Ham, Fulham. West Ham will win. Yeah.
West Ham win.
Cardiff, Watford.
Draw.
I think Watford are doing. Burnley, Spurs.
Spurs. Yeah.
Bournemouth, Wolves. I think Wolves are doing.
Draw.
That's our game of the week then. We'll wait and see who's right in that. Newcastle, Huddersfield. We're winning.
Newcastle.
We're winning. We're absolutely battering them. We're 10 days away. We're going to absolutely batter them.
Can't wait to come back next week to you. 2-0 at home.
God, I'm going to be fuming if we do. Absolutely fuming. Leicester Palace. I think Leicester will do it.
Leicester.
Arsenal, Southampton. Draw.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm going to draw, pal. I'm going to draw, and I will tell you why. Liverpool, Man United, big game of the week, and it's on a Sunday at 2:05.
At Anfield.
No, it's at Man United.
I'm going Man United.
Draw.
I would love to go draw, but I'm also going to go Man United. I think they need to bounce back. I really do.
They need to, but
I really do. We've been through the Championship. We have been through the EFL games. The biggest game in the weekend, officially, because it's the first silverware of the season, is Man City Chelsea. We've already covered that slightly, but we'll go through it again. City win.
City win by about 4 goals.
City win via pens.
No.
Ooh, I don't think it's going to go to pens. I'd
love a penalty shootout. I'd love a shootout.
But
I'd love it.
I like every game to go to penalties. That's how
I'd love a shootout. And also, before we cover the actual thing, the FA Cup draw was last night. Did anyone watch it? No, because it's boring.
No.
I didn't watch it. No,
saw it.
It's also on the One Show, and they have that little weird kit thing where they have fans from each team shake hands before it. It's weird. It's stupid.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't
do the draw.
It's weird. Anyway, Millwall got a favourable draw. They got home to Brighton, which is very, very good draw for them. Good draw for them. They have a chance in that one. Millwall through to the semi-finals.
If we'd have got through, that's the sort of game we would have probably got.
Yeah.
A Millwall, and we could have been one game from a semi-final, which
absolutely.
is really annoying.
Yeah, it's really annoying. But Man City Swansea, which is why I retracted my statement about Swansea having a shot at the semi-finals immediately. Because they're
you just had a quick check and then realise.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I really did a little check. I was like, oh no, they got City. Not a chance. That's at Swansea though, so you never know.
You never know, but it's got to be City.
Watford Palace. Watford Palace.
I mean, a lot of things can change in this time.
Because it's not till the second week of March. Sorry.
Watford on pens.
Oh, well, I like that. Oh, I like that pens. And it's Wolves Man United at the Molineux. So
Man United penalties.
No, I think Man United just do them because that's going to be a strenuous day for them. Anyway, we will move on to the Arsenal in the Europa League because they're terrible, and the next time they actually play football, because obviously they didn't have a fixture this weekend, is the Europa League again, and I think they'll get beat. I don't think they'll win. I think they'll get knocked out by BAT Borosov.
Really?
I do.
You reckon?
No.
I do.
I think Arsenal beat them 2-0.
No,
I'll go through.
I absolutely do because they were awful. They were the worst I've ever seen Arsenal play, and they've played some terrible games. They were terrible. Lacazette's not playing for them tonight because he got himself sent off with a stupid red card. Guendouzi looked out of his depth and looked like a 19-year-old who had been swallowed by teenagers. It was really bad. I did not enjoy it whatsoever. I watched it with an Arsenal fan, and it was more frustrating because he was like, yeah, this is really good. Yeah, they're pushing us to the limit. I was like, no, this is terrible football.
You've got to be beating these by 3, 4.
You should be absolutely smashing these. You should be Man City-ing them, and that's a new adjective, by the way. That's a new show adjective, Man City-ing someone to absolutely smash the living daylights out of them. You should be Man City-ing them, and You weren't. You were terrible. I don't think Unai Emery has improved anything at Arsenal so far this season.
Was that Barty's first knockout win?
Barty's first knockout win and their first game since December 22nd.
Yeah.
They're still in pre-season, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they run...
Because it's cold, because it's freezing where they're from.
Cold playing winter.
So, like, they haven't had a game in, like, near enough 3 months. And they came along and absolutely battered them. Alexander Haleb looked like he was absolute quality.
Yeah, I mean...
Ex-Arsenal player looked like he should never have left. He was amazing. They're playing with a bunch of farmers, school teacher and a dentist in goal. And they still couldn't score.
Haleb's got to be 41 now, sure.
Well, I don't know how old he is. I don't care. But he made Guendouzi look like a schoolboy. Effectively, Guendouzi still is. He should be at university, for God's sake. Not absolutely playing shocking. They were terrible. They were awful. They really were. And I think they are going to do this, and I think Arsenal need to seriously get a grip and look at themselves.
I just think Arsenal have too much at home.
Arsenal fans are wanting so much and when they don't get it, they start crying like little babies of, oh, we didn't get this, oh, Wenger out. Shut up. You've got a great history. It's a new age of players. It's a new age of footballers. You actually haven't got a leader on your pitch. You have a Chelsea problem. You are the worst team in London, effectively, out of the big ones, because there's loads of teams that play in London. I remember that now. But you are not better than Spurs anymore. You're not better than Chelsea, and you have a problem. Fix it and stop crying. You haven't got a load of money to go out and splash. Use your youth players that you have gone out and built, or Wenger went out and built and absolutely did it. Maitland-Niles is a good player. He played shocking on Thursday. He was terrible. Guendouzi, yeah, he's promising. Yeah, he had a bad game. You need to euthanize your team. Give them kids a chance and they will play, as Alan Hansen said. Boom. Sorry, that's my little rant over. I apologise, fellas. That's not a good way to end the show. I deeply apologise. So, thank you very much for your time, and we will be back next week. I do apologise, everybody, for ranting mildly left, right and centre and everything, because it was very rude. So, Tom, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
You're listening to
That's not the right jingle. I apologise. Tom, thank you very much for your time.
Cheers.
Adam, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And we'll see you all next week. Peace out.